Okay, here we go. So what we'll do is I'll just go in kind of the circle of my screen here and do some introductions so that you ladies can tell us about yourself, how long you've been a ham, and anything else you want to share with the group about yourself, and then we'll move into the topic for tonight. So Jenny, let's let you go first here, since it's nice and dark and early in the morning for you. You like to get your day started early, so over to you there, Jenny. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Kat. I'm Jenny, M08ZT, and I'm over here in the UK. I've been a ham now since the year 2000. We did our Mervyn couldn't. He was working nights and he couldn't make all the our lectures. So when he came in the following morning, I would tell him exactly what we did. He passed, and I failed. But our instructor put me straight back in again, and I passed them just like that the next time. And now I actually am now a tutor myself, and also I am exam secretary at our local club. I like to have a dabble in all things. VHF. I'm not too keen on UHF. It's a bit boring. I do like VHF. I will be getting FT8 up and running, just to say I've done it.
All right, very cool. Well, nice to have you here, Jenny, this morning. Dawn, how about you? WA4YL, tell us about your ham history here.
This is WA4YL. I've been a ham for 10 years and strong. I like to work HF, digital, and phone on 20 meters and 40. And I also do Echo Link. And I became an extra in 2013. Within 2 years of getting my technician. Well, almost 3. And I'm also a Sky 1 spotter for the National Weather Service. And I also like to dabble in electronics with the electronic snap circuits. And I put those together and make different kinds of radios and all kinds of gadgets with it. Look that up. Elenco snap circuits. I became a ham in 2010. And earlier in 2010 is when I became a Sky 1 spotter and found out about ham radio through the Sky 1 program. And I was invited to my local club.
Yeah.
And took the test, and here I am today. And as you can see, I like Ziggy. Back to you, Catherine.
Oh, awesome, Dawn. Well, glad to have you here with us tonight. Thanks for joining us. Ramona, WV2OBX, welcome to the group tonight. Nice to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Glad to be here. I am from West Virginia, but the reason why my vanity call sign is WV2OBX is we plan to retire at the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which is the OBX, of course. Me and my husband both got our first license in August of 2020. I got my tech, and he took the tech in the general class and passed both. And then he went back, and I went back in February, and I passed my general, and he passed his extra. He's worked in the electronics field for 38 years plus. I had been a sub at the same business for on and off for probably 20, 30 years. I'm now the secretary at the same business. We do land mobile radios. So we work in the VHF, UHF, mostly UHF field with linked Motorola Cobra radio systems. So we had a little bit of radio knowledge before we went into and took the testing. It was funny. He come to me and said, he said in July, he said, I got a plan for when I retire. He says, I'm going to get into amateur radio. He said, back years ago, he said, working on radios and doing the schematics and having to repair them, he said, I had no desire to do it. He said, now that I'm going to retire, he said, I'm going to use that for my hobby. And he looked at me, he says, you know, you probably know enough that you can probably pass the test. So I said, really? So I studied maybe 2-3 weekends. And of course, I thought I was going to fail. And the guys that give me my test really messed with me. They waited till I was the last person in the whole room to let me know whether or not I passed the test. But anyway, nice to meet everybody.
Awesome. Well, that's great to have you, Ramona. Nice story there. Thanks for sharing with the group. And we're glad to have you here. Lauren, WD4FMG, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. So I have been licensed since 1977, but that doesn't mean anything really. I got my novice license while I was in high school, and but shortly thereafter, you know, you go off to college and you become interested in other things. And so I got off the air till about 1993, and then I got back on the air and passed my general class license then. So I was active for about 18 months in the early 90s, and then I got off the air again. I just fired the gear back up in March of this year. And I haven't studied for any tests yet, but I live in Virginia, and I'm running an old Yaesu FT890, and I have a 20 meter and a 40 meter dipole out back in the backyard up in some trees. And I'm interested in DXing and contesting, and so when I saw this about the field day thing, it looked right up my alley, and always good to meet up with some YLs too.
Well, awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here, Lauren, and we're going to be doing a lot more of these Zoom meetings. That we'll be doing some, usually a topic. We'll have some fun covering stuff. And I thought, I've been trying to get these rolling for a while now, and I'm about ready to, I'm in the process of relocating to Scottsdale, Arizona. So I'm here right now, but I still have a bunch of stuff still in Atlanta that I have to go back. And I found out, I've been working remotely with work since March of last year with the pandemic. So when I temporarily came over here to Arizona, I had brought my work laptop and I've been working here, but they've decided to close the Atlanta office that I was in and merge a couple of offices together, and all my stuff has to get out. So I have to go back PDQ and get my stuff. So now it's an all of a sudden trip, which needed to get done anyway. But so I wanted to at least kick this off before I had to be kind of out of commission for doing this until July. And I thought, what better topic to do than let's talk about field day and a good logging program to use it. So as far as my story goes, I got interested in amateur radio kind of in an unusual way. I was watching a British miniseries called Wish Me Luck. And I had streamed it on Netflix. And if you're not familiar with it, check it out. Just do a Google search on it. But it's basically about the British secret agents. There you go, Jenny. With a focus on the women that went over to France and helped them during World War II and the French resistance. And they were wireless operators, many of them. And they would send messages, of course, back to the UK as far as what was going on and making arrangements for basically freeing France. So it was a fun series, and I just thought it was really neat to see the fact that you can take a wire and throw it over the roof and hook up a radio that's out of a suitcase and talk to people around the world. That to me was fascinating. And I got interested in amateur radio that way. So very unusual. I have no family members that are amateur radio operators. As far as like my parents or my siblings, my grandfather was a CB operator. He ran a gutter and downspout sheet metal business for many years in Atlanta. And for a while, he would drive trucks to do deliveries. But I never actually saw him operate the radio. He just told us about that at some point. And that's as far as the radio history goes with that. But I got my amateur radio license in September of 2013, and I upgraded to general in April of 2014. And I used to, when I first started, like a lot of us, I was a little mic shy and not sure how the whole call sign thing worked, and how the heck do you remember all these call signs? And that was like, oh my goodness. And I have a very good memory, and I was still a little intimidated with all the call signs. And so I used to listen to, I got an HT and a mag mount, and I used to listen to the repeater on the way into work every morning. And one of the repeaters I had programmed in had about 4 to 6 guys on every morning talking in a round robin. And what was great about that is I got to listen a lot, and I heard a lot of call signs, and I heard how they passed the mic, so to speak. Okay. And then that was helpful for me. I did a lot of time listening before I kind of broke through and decided to get up the nerve to throw my call out one morning as I held my breath, hoping no one would come back. But what I noticed over time is I didn't hear a lot of women on the repeater ever, hardly ever. And I wondered why. Were they kind of feeling what I felt when I first got licensed, a little uncomfortable, not sure, unfamiliar? And would it be helpful to have kind of a space to talk to other women and kind of connect with amateur radio and share the love of the hobby and encourage each other to kind of break through some of those what we see as barriers or obstacles as far as comfort level goes. So I started the YL OpNet back in 2014 October, and the goal was to try at first primarily to try and get a lot of the local YLs more comfortable getting on the air. So we had a club repeater, and it had Echolink connection to it, and I thought, well, that's perfect, because people don't have to necessarily be local. I could get some of the active YLs from other areas to be on to kind of help hopefully encourage the local YLs to be more comfortable sharing some space. So I got with the president of the club and asked for permission to start a net using the club repeater. And they gladly were more than willing to let me do that. And so the YL OpNet was born. And what I did is I would get on HF, the Ann Manna, WB1ARU, for any of you that may know her. She did a net on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern on HF. And it was kind of like it was an informal YLRL net. It wasn't really a net per se. It was more like, let's just call CQYL and see who comes back kind of a scenario. And I would get on there, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed hearing some other ladies on the air. And I thought, well, that's what triggered the idea of, well, why don't I start a net that's geared toward getting the local YLs active? And I didn't really want to do it on HF because you can't always hear everyone. So the Echolink connection through the local repeater was fantastic, because then you wouldn't have to worry about propagation or band conditions. We can all hear each other as long as the Echolink gremlins don't kick in. So anyway, that's kind of how I got my start in amateur radio, and I upgraded to extra. I don't even remember the year now. End of 15, beginning of 16. I upgraded to amateur extra, and woo, that was fun. Hamstudy.org, if anybody's looking to upgrade, hamstudy.org is a fantastic tool, especially if you're going to go for your extra. I don't think I would have made it without that. It's free, and you can use it on your computer, your tablet, your phone, kind of like a flashcard thing. It's fantastic. So spread the word if anybody else you know is looking to upgrade and they're struggling a bit with how do I study, or, people learn different ways. Some people do better with books. I don't. So I do better with hands-on and doing it. So, taking the test was just let me get past that hurdle. And now I can actually get in and have fun and play radio and learn what the heck I just read about. So it's been a fun journey so far. And I'm glad to have you ladies here tonight. So first off, have all of you participated in field day before? Are you familiar with what it is? Okay, Ramona doesn't. Lauren, what about you?
So I did field day back in high school with when the radio club I belonged to back then, all the guys went out in the field and set up the generators. And so I came along and operated because they said, a young lady's voice will attract a lot of contacts.
Yes, and it does too, doesn't it?
And I seem to recall I did like an auto phone patch to my parents, and my mother, goes, Lauren, don't you feel funny being out in the middle of the night with a bunch of men? And she's like broadcasting this like, so I have not done field day, in 30 years. So.
Okay. All right. Well, what I think might be good is the ARRL has put out an excellent brief video on field day. It's only about 8 minutes. So if you ladies are good with it, I'd like to share that video here, and it'll kind of refresh everybody on what field day is and what the purpose of it is. And it doesn't go into too much depth there, but it's a nice overview. So I'm going to go ahead and share that video with you ladies, and then we'll go into the logging program aspect of it. All right, so let me get that going here. I'm going to get my screen share going. With any luck, this will work. So bear with me here. Okay. Can everybody see that get ready for 2021 ARRL field day up in the top left?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, well, let's go ahead and watch this then, and then we'll pick this back up.
Well, ARRL Field Day is here again. It's ham radio's open house. Every June, more than 35,000 hams throughout North America set up temporary transmitting stations in public places to demonstrate ham radio's science, skill, and service to our communities and our nation. It's so much more than just another contest. It combines public service, emergency preparedness, community outreach, and technical skills, all in a single event. Field Day has been an annual event since 1933 and still remains the most popular event in amateur radio. On the fourth weekend of June of each year, radio amateurs gather with their clubs, groups, or simply with friends to operate from home or remote locations. Field Day is a picnic, a campout, practice for emergencies, an informal contest, and most of all, fun. It's also a time where many aspects of amateur radio come together to highlight our many roles. While some will treat it as a contest, other groups use the opportunity to practice their emergency response capabilities. It is an excellent opportunity to demonstrate amateur radio to the organizations that we might serve in an emergency, as well as the general public. For many clubs, ARRL Field Day is one of the highlights of their annual calendar. The contest part is simply to contact as many other stations as possible and to learn to operate our radio gear in abnormal situations and less than optimal conditions. However, traditional field day operations were compromised last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since we are still grappling with restrictions and safety practices this year, hams have continued to do their part in stopping the spread of this disease by limiting the size of gatherings, by wearing masks, hand washing, and by observing social distancing. That makes a traditional group field day activity much more difficult to do safely. ARRL, which sponsors and organizes Field Day each year, has altered the rules temporarily to allow more single operators to operate at-home stations. The rules now include plenty of options to either participate safely in groups or for members to participate using their own radios at their own locations. That location may be your ham shack at home, your backyard, a public park, a farm field, or a church parking lot. Anywhere you have the owner's permission and where you are able to follow the health guidelines or guidance from your local government or health professionals. Field Day starts Saturday, June 26, 2021 at 1800 hours UTC and ends Sunday the 27th at 2059 hours UTC. Field Day contacts may be made on 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meter HF bands, as well as all VHF and UHF and above amateur radio frequencies. Bands not listed here are off limits for Field Day operations, as are all FM repeaters. Field Day is open to all amateurs in the areas covered by the ARRL, RAC field organizations, and countries within IARU Region 2. Remember, Field Day is not a contest. It is an operating exercise. It is, however, a great way to get introduced to contesting without the pressure of actually jumping into a real contest. When you can start setting up depends upon your class and other particulars. The complete set of rules, regulations, and contest scoring are way too involved and detailed to be covered here in this short video. Go to the ARRL website at www.arrl.org and search Field Day 2021 for a complete set of rules and regulations. But I'll go over some of the more basic setups that you'll probably employ. Hams may operate as one or more persons at home on commercial power or alternate power like solar or batteries. It is just as likely that you will be in some remote location like a park, backyard, parking lot, or farm field. Remember to get permission from any property owners and to stay cognizant of the local government and health professional requirements or restrictions. Your class is designated as a number and letter. The number is the number of transmitters operating simultaneously and on different bands under the same call sign. The letter determines the class, and the class of station you are operating depends upon the circumstances. For instance, Class A is a club or group operating from one location, using generators, batteries, or other emergency power to run all transmitters and receivers, and utilizing no permanent antennas or towers. This is what clubs have traditionally done in the past. Class B is one or two hams operating under one call sign from a remote location using generators, batteries, or other emergency power to run all transmitters and receivers. They can run multiple transmitters with no permanent antennas or towers, but must use only one call sign. This would be a great activity for ham radio club members that want to go outdoors, alone or with a buddy, put up a portable antenna, and operate from an emergency power source for a while. Class C is mobile stations. The radio, power source, and antenna must all be mounted in or on the vehicle. Everything must be able to move together. Class D is for home stations running commercial power. It's okay to operate Field Day from home, and because of a temporary rule waiver, you may count contacts with other Class D stations. The ARRL doesn't want Field Day to become a contest where everyone stays home and works everyone else at home, but the rules offer flexibility to participate fully from home if you choose. Class E is for home stations operating on emergency power. You can stay at home and operate any other Field Day stations as long as your transmitter and receiver are powered by a generator, battery, solar panel, or the like. Now this is important. Be aware of an additional temporary rule change for 2021. This year, Class D and Class E stations will be limited to 150 watts PEP output power. That means if you're operating from home on commercial power or emergency power, your transmitting power must be kept to 150 watts or less. Class F is for stations operating from an emergency operations center, such as the Red Cross, firehouse, police station, or hospital. Let's look at some sample stations. One transmitter and one operator operating from a public park with portable antennas and emergency power would be Class 1B. With two transmitters on different bands would be 2B. One transmitter with one operator working from home with commercial power and your regular ham shack gear and antennas would be 1D. Two transmitters and two operators working from home with commercial power and your regular ham shack gear and antennas would be 2D. One transmitter with one operator working from home with battery, generator, solar, or any other non-commercial power, and your regular ham shack gear and antennas would be 1E. Two transmitters and two operators working from home with battery, generator, solar, or any other non-commercial power, and your regular ham shack gear and antennas would be 2E. One operator with all gear located in or on a vehicle would be 1C. There are more combinations and special caveats than we have time for here. Consult the ARRL website for more detail. One last thing. What modes may we use? Well, the answer is simple. Any mode is acceptable. CW, phone, any digital mode, SSTV, satellite contacts, meteor scatter, RTTY, anything goes. So, show us what you can do. Set up something simple or complicated. Work from home or cow pasture. Make QSOs with CW or high-speed data. Run your gear on commercial mains or a bicycle generator. Operate high power or QRP. Dust off that old rig and see if the tubes still work. Maybe the new solar cycle will be on your side. Get out there, improve your own personal communications capability, help show off the very best of amateur radio, and have a whole lot of fun while you're at it.
Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Ramona, was that helpful for you and kind of an intro to field day
Yeah.
and what it is? Did you have any questions on? I know the classes and stuff is a little complicated. It's probably easier to look at the rules and
Yeah, I'll probably look at the rules.
yeah, that's probably a lot easier. But the most common is if you're going to operate from home with a radio plugged into the wall, you know, the wall outlet, or a power supply connected to the wall outlet, then you're going to be at home on commercial power. So that would put you, if you have just one radio, it'd be a 1C. That's common. The other common one for folks is they will operate from home but hook their radio up to a battery, portable battery, and those folks would be basically 1E. If you're having one radio and you're hooked up, even if you're at home, it's 1 echo. So those are the most common. Now you'll see where that comes into play in a minute when we look at the logging program, but the rules will help you kind of define what class you're operating in. And the nice thing is at least normally when they're scoring those, they can put the classes together so that you're not competing with somebody that has 4 stations or 5 stations in the same class as you, because that just doesn't make sense. But the whole idea, again, as he mentioned, is it's not a contest, it's an exercise. And basically the purpose is to, one, kind of demonstrate to the community what amateur radio can do for them as far as establishing communications. And it gives an outlet for clubs more so to introduce amateur radio to the community. That's why they encourage having materials to hand out or setting up in a public place like a park, so that people visiting can see, may ask you, what are you doing? Want to learn more about it, and you can introduce them to that, because there are a lot of people that still don't know what amateur radio is, and that's what hams have done for people in the past. I like to reference the Alaska earthquake in the 60s, where there's a lot of hams helped establish communication after Hurricane Katrina. That was another big one where there was zero communications and they were wiped out. So putting an example like that helps the community understand what amateur radio does, and the fact that it's all voluntary. There's no payment for those services and helping people. So, okay, so I'm glad that you all enjoyed the video and that was helpful. So I'm going to see if I can pull up this logging program and how you can get to it. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me go to see, I thought I had that up here. All right, let me do this and I'll close out of the video here. We don't need any of that. There we go.
Your blood glucose reading is 197 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Let me get out of this. So the rules here, hope everybody can see my screen here. I just kind of scrolled down. But if you go to ARR, let me do this. Hold on. Let me turn on my little spotlight so you can see my mouse better. There we go. All right, so now you can kind of follow my red pointer a little bit better here. So arrl.org/field-day-rules. There's also a PDF of this you can download on ARRL's website as well, but it goes through and breaks it down for you. Eligibility, what the objective is, which we've already talked about. The date and time, which he mentioned in the video. And then there's a breakdown of entry categories, and that's what we call your class, is an entry category. And it breaks those down for you, what class A is. And then as you scroll down, a lot of this has to do with more clubs operating and they set up a GOTA station. So a lot of this won't really apply to you as an individual or a family that's participating in field day. There's also a class A battery, and it defines what that is. There's a class B, which is 1 or 2 person portable. Now, a lot of people wonder what the difference is between portable and mobile. Are you all familiar with what the difference is between portable and mobile?
Portables when you're not at your home QTH. Mobile's your vehicle.
Okay, yes and no. So the biggest thing that you'll want to hit is moving. Mobile is moving. So a portable setup is you can go to a park somewhere, pull your radio out and set it up on a table, or use it in your car, but hooked up to a battery with an antenna that you set up. That's portable because you're not rolling, you're not physically moving, but you're not at like your home QTH. Mobile is when you are in a vehicle, is capable of operating while in motion and is normally operated in this manner. So that's kind of helpful for that, as far as the difference between mobile and portable, because it can be a little confusing. Home stations, of course, if you're operating from home, there's no reason why you can't. There's nothing wrong with operating from home. Sometimes in the event of, say, a weather event, you may, if you're looking to help out with the amateur radio emergency service, they often will look for people at home to report what's going on weather-wise or in their local area. So that would be an event where, you know, a home station would actually apply in some circumstances. So there's no need to feel bad about operating or playing field day from home. But the goal is, of course, to kind of test your equipment in other circumstances where most of the time you wouldn't be at home in your PJs chilling out at your ham shack, right? But, you know, right now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with operating from home. If that's what you can do, then that's what you can do. Just play, participate, have fun, because there are still other aspects of field day that you can benefit from, such as working a lot of stations back to back. Which in the case of, if you were helping out with an emergency net, you may be taking calls back to back and helping relay information. That's the idea, is to practice doing exchanges and multiple exchanges quickly and accurately. That's kind of the test run, if you look at it that way. Normally that they're doing a temporary rule waiver, but normally 2 home stations, like if I was operating from home on commercial power and Ramona, you were operating from home on commercial power, we couldn't log each other normally, because the goal again is to try and work stations or be the stations that are not in normal conditions, so to speak. But because of COVID, most people, or a lot more people, are playing field day from home because it's safer and they're taking those precautions. So they waived that rule last year, and they're doing it again this year. Again, E is your home station's emergency power, and F is if you're operating from an emergency operations center, and there are hams that do that. They will go and operate from a Red Cross center or a weather station or something where they're allowed to set up and participate in field day. So all of this information, I know it's a lot, but that's going to be your best reference point for trying to figure out what you're doing. A lot of it you can kind of skim over because it doesn't apply. But it also breaks down what the exchange is, any miscellaneous rules that are in here, like, no repeater contacts, which he already mentioned in the video. The video does a great job of summarizing, so feel free to go back and watch it again. How the points are done. Now, here's the beautiful part about points and power multipliers and all of this. When you use an electronic logging program like N3FJP, you put in what your class is and what your section is into the setup menu, and I will show you that, but it will do the scoring for you. Thank goodness, because some of these contests, I wouldn't have a clue where to begin with scoring these and calculating it. If I had to manually calculate it, that would not happen. So that's where electronic logging is phenomenal. All right, so let's get into how to use it. So we're going to go to N3FJP.com. You go to that website, N3FJP.com. And by the way, N3FJP is an actual call sign, and it belongs to Scott Davis, the guy who wrote this program. And he plays in just about every contest. So odds are you'll probably work him at some point in time if you haven't already. Super nice guy. But if you go to N3FJP.com, right on the homepage right now are 2 links straight away. One for the amateur contact log, which is just your generic log where you can put all of your QSOs in if you choose to go that route. But for field day, he has a specific field day contest log. And the advantage to having this specific contest log is the layout follows what the contest exchanges are. It's much easier to follow along with what do I need to put in? What's my exchange? What information do I have to put in to log that contact? The specific logging programs for the contest help you with that, and it's so much easier to follow, which you'll see in a minute. He has other ones for just about every contest. If you go down under contest logs, every major ARRL contest, he has a separate log specifically for that contest. So the forms and the form fields that you plug in are just what is required for the exchange for that contest. Makes it so much easier than trying to fumble through a generic contact log and figuring out, did I get all the information I needed on the exchange? Also some other like CQ Worldwide DX, CQ WPX and VHF and 160 meters. He has all of those individual logs. There are some other ones that don't fall under ARRL and CQ that are more territory specific, like the North American QSO Party, North American Sprint, and single sideband sprint. There's the All Asian DX, Africa International DX. So these specific logs are under his other contest logs. But again, they're specific to these contests and these exchanges that are required. There's also state QSO party logs as well. So just about anything that you can want is there for you. You can download any of these and use them. They have a limit of how many contacts you can put in before you're required to register the program. Each log program has a different, I think they're usually the same price. If you pick one, like we're looking at the field day one, just so you know, down here at the bottom, you get 30 contacts for free. If you register it for $9, then it's yours for forever. All updates to the field day log, anything that comes up and changes are yours forever for $9. Now, he has the entire package, which is every single one of his logging programs for every contest that we just went through, as well as the general contact log, which is phenomenal, by the way. I use that as well. You can get that entire package for about $50, and it's forever. You don't ever have to pay to renew. It's not a subscription. It's a one and done. You pay for it, and he continues to update it and support it. And I think his son has started to take on a lot of that and get more involved in that as well, as Scott gets on up there and is kind of taking a back seat so his son can kind of run things. But wonderful support from these guys. Scott, N3FJP, is in Maryland, in Bel Air. His wife, Kim, helps him out as well with a lot of the processing and emails. And so they're just excellent. All right, so to download it, you just pull up the field day contest log page and you click download ARRL field day contest log. Depending on what browser, it will then download it. Now, I've already run this and installed it on this computer, so I'm not going to actually reinstall it here, but I am going to cancel that. But that's basically all you do is click that, download it, and then run the executable to do the installation. One other thing to note that I forgot: if you buy the field day log, let's say you want to play with that today, and then you download the amateur radio contact log, or AC log as they call it, which is just the general log, and you use it for 30 contacts, you play with it, you decide you like it, the $8.99 that you paid on the field day contest log, if you decide to go ahead and buy his entire suite, he will apply the $9 you already paid for the field day log toward the $49.99 for his entire package. So you wouldn't pay $9 for this log and then $49.99 for the whole package. He'll apply whatever logs you paid for already toward the whole suite. He's really, really super cool. Okay, so now everybody good with where to go to download it? Any questions so far? Okay, good, Lauren. All right, I know you're grabbing dinner. Awesome. Okay, so that's pretty simple. By the way, he has let me do this real quick and pull this up. I don't know if you all are familiar with groups.io, but he has a, see if I've got this in here. Yay, I remember my password. Okay. Okay, he has two for N3FJP. One is the software, N3FJP software group. This is where he talks to you only. Like, he just posts updates or information about the program or support or anything that changes. He posts. It's kind of a one-way communication through this group, which is good because it'll keep you aware of what's going on with the software program and any updates, so you can make sure that you have the latest one. Or if somebody found an issue and he fixed it, he'll post there as well. But that's communication from Scott or his son and wife to the users. That's it. The N3FJP software users group is where we can all talk to each other when we have a problem, when we have a question, when we don't know how to do something. And Scott is a member in here, and he will answer a lot of the questions here and help you out as well. That's a great way to stay in touch with not only Scott, but all the other users as well that may have already run into an issue that you're facing. Again, groups.io is free. You can just register and then you can subscribe to any of these. You can see the groups I'm in here. YL Ops is the group that we run for the YL OpNet. That one is not really kicked off as much right now. It's still got a lot of work to do to get that fired up, but that's what happens when you're trying to take on more than you can chew. One thing at a time. If you're an ARRL member, there's a lot of other groups here. Logbook of the World, there's one for contesting, awards, and anything ARRL related. Those are great too. It's just a great tool. Thought I'd throw that out there if you're not familiar with groups.io. I'll just pop into, say, the software group here. So you can see these here. So these are like kind of your N3FJP announcements, so to speak. So there was a Logbook of the World outage on ARRL's side, not Scott's side, but he got a lot of questions about, hey, why can't I upload my contacts, or why can't I download my contacts from LOTW? So these are like announcements, as you can see, from him to us, to the users that are in here. Let me back it up one. The software users groups, people that have questions or issues. You know, hey, I don't know how to do this. I'm running into an issue with this. So here's a question: logging satellite QSOs. How do people set up logging for satellite QSOs on field day? And there are already replies to it here. So that's where the users talk to each other, and then Scott will often reply to and chime in and help out as well. People make observations and contacts or talk about issues that they've run into. So that's a very useful resource for you as well. You can also email Scott directly if you go to contact us. We have a bouncing ball. There we go. Contact information. There's their email, snkdavis@aol.com. You can send them an email, and of course, you can also go through the groups. If you want, you can do it the old-fashioned way and write them a letter. But your response may be delayed. Okay, let's go into the program. So let me stop this share, and I will share the program here. Okay, so when you first download it, let me just hit done. Let me close this out. Oh, I guess this is not going to let me close it out right now. Hold on. All right, now let me close this out. I will go back in it. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay, when you first download it, let me see if it will prompt like normal here. Okay, this, I hadn't downloaded it on this computer yet. So this box will pop up here showing an unregistered program. Let me get my spotlight back here for you. You can follow my mouse a little easier. There we go. You'll see it says unregistered program. And because I haven't plugged in my call sign and password in this one, I hadn't downloaded this log onto this computer before. So if you're just going to play with it, and you can use it up to 30 contacts, you simply click continue. If you have a registration, he will send you an email with a list of passwords. So if you buy his whole suite, you'll have a password, which is basically 5 numbers for every single individual log. Once you plug it in, you won't have to plug it in for that log on that computer again. It will be registered. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in so that you ladies can see this. Let's see. And this box will pop up. Thanks for registering. And you just click OK. And this setup box will appear. So you put your call sign in here. and it will plug in your country and your continent and your lat long based on your address that you have registered with the FCC. You can change this if you want. Does it really matter? Not really in this logging program, it does not. CQ zone, you plug in your CQ zone and your ITU zone wherever you're operating at. Your class, so I'm just going to put in 1 echo. Let's say I'm working from home and I am using, I need to change this. I need to go in and see where this pulls, actually. That's a good question. Let me see here. I'm actually in Arizona, so my CQ zone is 3 and my ITU zone is 6. Let's say I'm operating from home and I'm using a battery. So I'm 1E, 1 transmitter, emergency power. My ARRL section is Arizona. You can put in operator and initials if you're going to have 2 or 3 people using the same transmitter. You can go in and change it each time you change operators. Sometimes that's helpful to keep track of who made which contacts. It's really nice. And it makes it easier if you wanted to export. Let's say Dawn and I were playing and we were using the same transmitter and logging program, and I put in my operator and initials in here, and then she put hers in for her contacts. Then I could export just my contacts and save it to a file and then import it into my general log to upload to LOTW later. So that's a nice way to kind of separate it. Okay, but it's not required. Any questions on this screen? If you don't know what your CQ zone or ITU zone is, there are CQ zone and ITU zone maps that you can pull up online. Just Google search, what's my CQ zone, what's my ITU zone. Another way you can get this is, at least your CQ zone, I believe, is on QRZ.com. And I will show you ladies that later if you want, on an easy way to find what that is based on where you are. All right, so I'm going to hit done for now. Let me move my controls up to the top so we can see. I want to make sure I don't know if these are standing in your way or not. All right. So, let me do this. Now that I don't have that, let me do this. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to share this program so that way, hopefully none of my meeting controls block any views. There we go. All right. Here we are full screen. We did our setup. Now, if you'll notice on the bottom, let me get my spotlight again. It's disappearing. Go. You see on the bottom of the screen, the things I put in the setup screen are now down here. My call sign, AC4YL. My class, 1E. My section, AZ. How cool is that? Because there's your exchange. It's right there. You don't have to worry about what do I say next? It's right here. So when somebody comes back to you, you go back and you say WA4YL, AC4YL, 1 Echo, Alpha Zulu. You're done. It's all right here, and it's so much easier because it's always in front of you at all times. Your band is here, so you can do several things here. You can click on it and cycle through what band you're operating on. There's a lot, so that's kind of a pain in the butt, right? Or you can go up here to band and you can pick which one you're operating on. Are you using satellite, or what are you're on 20 meters? You pick your band and you can pick your mode. Again, you can click here and cycle through the modes. Fortunately, there's only 3, unlike bands. So you can easily cycle through these, or you can, again, you can click on mode up here at the top and pick which mode you're operating. So this is a good way. Double check everything down here is correct. I'm on 20 meters. I'm on phone. This is my call sign. This is my class. This is my section. Now, the nice thing about this is again, everything is down here at the bottom that you need. But also what's cool is you see these big boxes right here of all the sections. Now, what's cool about that? Let me show you. Let's say I work Dawn first, WA4YL. And let's say she's working from home on commercial power. So she's 1 Charlie. And she's in Florida. Dawn, what section are you actually in Florida? Because there's a few. Dawn? Did we lose you, Dawn? Hold on. I think you're muted, Dawn.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
West Central Florida. And I got a question. I got a new computer for Christmas, and my field name log is unregistered, and I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, that's okay. You still have you can still get to your email, right?
Yeah, on the phone.
That's fine. Go into your email. You should have an email from Scott when you first registered it that has your password in it.
Oh, okay. I hope
And
I
if
can find it.
yeah, if you need it, you can email him and ask him to send it to you again. He will.
Yeah, I wrote it down in one of my log books, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, just send him an email and ask him to can you please send me my passwords for my log, and make sure you give him your name and call sign in there.
Okay. I'm doing it after we're done here because I don't want to lose you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, you want to go ahead and get that so that you're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dawn is in West Central Florida. Let me close this. All right, so Dawn, let's do a practice run. So I'm going to call CQ Field Day AC4YL.
This is Whiskey Alpha 4 Yankee Lima.
Okay,
You are
Whiskey Alpha 4 Yankee Lima, Alpha Charlie 4 Yankee Lima, 1 Echo Alpha Zulu.
QSL. I'm 1 Delta, West Central Florida.
Perfect. All right, so we did our exchange. I put everything in each box. Now I'm just going to hit enter. And there we go. I've got WA4YL, 1 Delta, West Central Florida. The date and time is already in here. We're on 20 meters and phone. Done. I'm ready for the next one. Let's see. Let me go here. All right. Any of you ladies want to come back? Go ahead. CQ Field Day, Alpha Charlie 4 Yankee Lima.
This is Whiskey Delta 4 Foxtrot Mike Golf.
Whiskey Delta 4 Foxtrot Mike Golf. Good afternoon. Alpha Charlie 4 Yankee Lima. 1 Echo Alpha Zulu.
Roger, Roger. 1 Delta Virginia. Over.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. 7-3. Okay, so what we have here, you'll notice I just worked Dawn in West Central Florida. Notice it's blue. And I just worked, was that Lauren? Lauren in Virginia. Now it's blue. Now what's cool is as I work each section, it will change color. So I'm going to throw some other call signs in here. Let's say I work Margaret. Margaret, and she's going to be, let's just say 1 Echo. And I believe she's in Western Washington. Whiskey, Whiskey, Alpha. So I'm going to put WWA and I'm going to hit enter. And now that's blue. So it's very cool because now you can easily see which sections have you worked and which ones haven't you. And now it becomes a challenge on yourself, right? As you're playing, you're like, I wonder how many more people I can work, and can I get this section and can I get that section? And it's a lot of fun to do that. Now there's another way you can look at it too. Let me see if I can do it. My meeting controls are so getting in my way here. Oh, I've got to figure out the best way to get that. These things are I'm not having to constantly move them out of my way. Okay. You can also go to the view button and hit map. This is cool. Notice Virginia is colored. West Central Florida is colored, and Western Washington is in color, because those are the sections I've worked. Pretty cool, huh? Dawn, did you have a question?
Yeah, I can't find it.
Can't find what?
The password I have got. I got the one for my November sweepstakes, but I can't find the one for field day.
Yeah, just email Scott. Tell him you need your password list for WA4YL, and he'll email it to you.
Okay.
He'll send you the whole list on a PDF file.
Okay. I'm so scatterbrained.
All right, so write this down, Dawn. You got a pen?
Yeah, plenty up here. Don't
All
know
right.
which one it'll work.
Okay. Write down SNK Davis. It's on the screen here. Well, I don't know if I'm sharing this part. SNK Davis.
Davis. Okay.
Okay, at AOL.com.
AOL.com.
All right, read it back to me. What do you got?
SNK Davis at AOL.com.
Perfect. Sierra November Kilo Davis at AOL.com, right?
That's right.
Perfect. Send an email to that address
Okay.
and say, hey, Scott and Kimberly, I lost my passwords for my logging programs. Can you resend those to me?
Okay. Because
My name's Dawn. My call sign's WA4YL, and they will send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could find the number I wrote in one of my logbooks, and I don't know which logbook I wrote.
It's no big deal. I've probably emailed them a couple times myself because I lost my passwords, and they will send you a PDF file with all the passwords for all of the programs you have registered with them.
Okay.
And he'll get it to you quick, but email him.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and send it.
Yeah, because when I got a question here. When I registered for the November sweepstakes, did they give me a different number for that
Yes.
sweep?
Yes. You have a different password for each log.
Okay, I got that one saved. I should have saved the other one. Let me see if it's in my archives. Nope. But I have yours in the archives.
So yeah, let me see here. All right, what can you ladies see on my screen? Do you still see the logging program? Okay. So let me just show you this real quick. So this right here is what your email he'll send you will look like. Here's your complete password list, and here's all of mine for each log because I have the whole suite. And they're literally just 5 numerical digits. That's your password.
Okay.
Okay, so he'll send you this for the logs that you have. Obviously, you won't
Okay.
have all these. You'll have the
No.
ones that you paid for.
Yeah, the November sweepstakes and the field day.
Right. Yep. And that email's still that one. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we went through how to download it, the setup screen, and we've logged a few contacts. Any questions on anything that we've covered so far? Everybody good?
I have a question, but it's not on anything you've covered, Catherine.
Okay, good. Bring something else up. Go for it.
So, I have downloaded the software, of course, just, I already, have some other software I use. And the other software I use, is computer controlled. Is this software computer controlled? Or is this kind of just what it is purely like a database, and if you know what I mean?
Now, when you say computer controlled, do you mean you can hook your radio up to your computer and it will plug in? Yes, it will do that.
Okay.
In fact, I had that set up at some point. Yes. It will connect to your computer. I mean, your radio.
Uh-huh.
And it will pull in the information for your radio. Here you go.
Got it. Now, do
So
you
yeah,
have to
and
do
it works.
or can you use it as a standalone without connecting it to your radio?
You can use it standalone. I use it standalone now.
Okay.
You don't
Really?
have to use this, but you can.
Well, the reason I ask is, when you have one of these other programs open and it thinks it's controlling the radio, and then if I were to open this up and it thinks it's controlling the radio, it would get
Right.
confused.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So yeah, you don't have to use this feature. It is there, but you don't have to use it.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sure, no problem. Good question though. Excellent question. See if I can close out, move my meeting controls out of my way again. Okay. There
Okay,
we-
for field day, do you have to use say you want to go somewhere, can you do the mobile, but yet do home too, check-ins? I'm saying, say you're going to be gone for a couple hours in the mobile, and you check in as the mobile then, and then come home and check in as home?
No, no,
It
you
has to be
can't
all the same.
change categories. You have to maintain whatever category you're going to. So if you're going to have more time to play mobile, then just log your mobile contacts. If you're going to have more time at home, just stick with your home contacts and use that category. You can't change classes in field day. It's one or the other for your logs. Now, if you wanted to go play with the club for a while and then go home and play yourself, you can do that. You just can't use your call sign at the club station. You'd have to use the club station's call sign and play radio, because those would fall with the club. Those contacts would be part of the club call sign contacts, not your own. Then you can go home and play and say, I haven't had enough fun yet, so now I'm going to hook up when I get home and play some more radio. You can do that because there at the club,
Club.
right? Say what?
I said, we're not real close to club.
Oh, yeah. So that's the only option where you could play in like other locations and still log your own. Okay, because you're not changing your category because you're only operating through one under your call sign.
Okay.
Great questions. Awesome. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah. What if you and your husband both wants to do it together? Do you use one call sign, or could you use both call signs?
You can log your own. You can do it either way you want. You can both operate using one or the other's call sign, or you can both take turns playing using your own call sign. You can certainly do that. That's not a problem. Not a problem at all. You just have one transmitter and you switch who's operating there. All right.
In our house, we switch antennas. We both have our own radios, so we switch an antenna.
Oh, you're switching it. Yeah, you can do that. You'll just have your own separate logs. Just make sure you have your own. Well, I'll tell you what, you can actually use one log, but do that whole changing of the settings here. I would suggest doing 2 logs though. It's
Okay.
much easier to do 2 separate logs. Now, here's something that I've done playing portable radio with another ham, is we would set up 2 logs. So what I would do is I would say new start a new contest with a new database file or new file location. I'm going to show you guys this real quick
Okay.
here. It's going to let me save this. This is the default location where it saves it. This is the default naming convention called log data here. It just defaults to that. But what I do is I would go in, I'm just going to do this separately here, and I would save the other person's log under their call sign. So I would
Okay.
have two logs. They're totally separate logs using the same program. Okay. We're both using N3FJP. We're both using the field day log. So this one happens to be called, I'll just put my call sign in here, and the other person's, let's say this is their computer, they're just using log data. So I'm going to hit save, and now it's blank. See this?
Mhm.
Now, the only thing is, you'll notice, I really wish I could get rid of some of this stuff, is my stuff still down here. See that? My information's still down here. So this, I used my call sign for this new log. So this happens to be me. But if it was, I think I just made this more confusing doing it this way. All right. So this is my log. Now I'm going to do a new one for the second person, and I'm going to do Dawn here. Let's just have some fun. We'll just say Dawn and I are playing some radio. So we're going to make two logs here. So now, how do I keep them separate? Let me show you. I'm going to open ARRL Field Day Contest logging program twice. Now we're in advanced training here, so. All right, so again, the setup screen always comes up when you first open it. Zone's latitude or rough estimates retrieved from the country list based on your prefix. So that's where it pulls this information here. That's why you have to go change it. Since my prefix is AC4, it's going to pull in the 4 call area. That's why it plugs in the wrong ITU and CQ zones, because I'm not actually in CQ zone 5 or ITU zone 8 here in Arizona. But anyway, so Dawn, I'm just going to say done for the moment here, because I'm not sure which. I think I have the Dawn log open, but oh boy. Let me see here. So I'm just going to close out of everything.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm going to open this so that I know which log I'm opening. Okay, so we're starting new. Dawn and I are getting ready to play radio. All right. So I'm not sure which log file I have open yet. So I'm going to go File, Open. And I'm going to open the AC4YL log file. And I'm going to go into Setup. And I'm going to make sure that this is AC4YL. I'm going to plug my information in. I'm going to hit Done. Now my information's down here. Now, I'm going to open a second iteration of this program. It's going to default to open the AC4YL log because that was the last one that was open. So now what I have to do is I have to open Dawn's log. Okay, so now I've opened that log file. And we've got Dawn in here, and Dawn's come to visit me. So we're going to go in here because we're playing together at my house. So now I have a log. This is a great way to tell whose log I'm in, right? And Dawn has her log here. And they're actually two separate logs. Now, if you're husband and wife playing, you can do it under the same one. And just go into the setup program when you change operators. So let's say I'm in here and I'm just going to do a fake one here. Now you'll notice, see the initials and operator filled in here. Now my buddy Dawn's going to come in here. Of course, I wouldn't have worked her if I was playing, but that's okay. We'll just have some fun here. She's going to work somebody now. And Dawn works Ramona. Ramona, you're in Virginia, right?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. Is that right? Is
WV.
WVA?
WV is the two
Oh,
letter.
see? Can you tell I'm tired? All right, here we go.
Actually, years and years ago, before they went to two letter, it was WVA. So you're
Ah,
right.
see? Okay, I feel better then. I'm old school.
Feel better.
Now you'll notice Dawn logged Ramona, and so now we've got DR for Dawn Randazzo and her call sign. So now I can tell who worked who. That's another way to do it. And then you can break it up into, I can pull all of Dawn's out into another log. Both methods are complicated. They sound complicated. It's probably easier if you had two different computers than trying to do it. I've just been doing this a bunch of times because my friend Melanie and I went around and did a bunch of national parks on the air for the IMPOTA event. And so we did a lot of double logs, like two separate logs for each site. And we did a lot of switching back and forth. So I got good at this after a while, but it might seem a little overwhelming watching me do all this now if you've never done it before.
That's a goal for us, is to do a Parks on the Air.
You say what now?
We want to do a Parks on the Air.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things to look at. There are two different programs for operating at a park, and you can play both. There's Parks on the Air, which came after IMPOTA, but actually the original program for operating portable at parks is the Worldwide Flora and Fauna Program, WWFF. That has been around for many years and it's worldwide. A lot of countries play with WWFF, and the US was one of them. Hence, KFF was the US iteration of WWFF. Well, there's an interesting story behind after National Parks on the Air. You know, they had kind of, ARRL sponsored that, and they had their own kind of set of rules for that. You had to make, I think it was 10 contacts at a park or 14. And that would be all you needed to activate a park, okay, was like 14 contacts. Well, with WWFF, KFF, you need 44 contacts to consider that park activated. Here's the nice thing about that program. You don't have to make all 44 in one visit. You can go back to a park multiple times, and you only need a minimum of 44 total to consider that park activated. That program has been around for many years, and what happened after National Parks on the Air concluded, the KFF factor of WWFF decided they liked the National Parks on the Air rules better. And so they started changing them and saying, oh, well, you only need 14 QSOs to activate a park. And WWFF said, no, the rules are back to the standard that they've always been. So unfortunately, some people got bent out of shape over that. So they broke off from KFF and formed Parks on the Air, or POTA. So that's why you hear a lot of POTA and you hear some WWFF, KFF.
Okay.
Can you play both? Yes. You can go and work people, and there are people that will log for both. You know, give me your KFF. What's your KFF park number, and what's your POTA park number? And I think a lot of them are the same, actually, because Parks on the Air was born out of KFF. So they pulled a lot of the same numbers that represent the parks that were already in use with KFF. And then as they added more and added more and added more, they would start generating their own. But you can certainly activate and log for both and submit your logs through both programs. And they each have their own certificates and things that they do. I would encourage you to check out both programs because they're both fun. And if you're already at a park, why not do both? And when you spot yourself on a spotting network, put in there, it's a POTA and KFF activation. So people that are looking for KFF parks will work you, and people that are looking for POTA will work you. And then those that say, hey, I like both, they'll work you too. So
It's good information.
yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So the naming conventions, the numeric conventions are very similar. Your KFF numeric conventions for parks will be KFF and then the number. For POTA, it would be K and then the number. But they're very similar. Let me see if I can get their website up here. So this is the Worldwide Flora and Fauna in Amateur Radio. Make nature your shack. Hams all over the world utilize this and have been doing worldwide flora and fauna for years. POTA's the newest, I guess you could say the new kid on the block, right? But you could certainly play both. So this is a site you can learn all about KFF and how that works. It's www.ff.co/tag/KFF. In fact, let me put this in the, where is this? I'll put this in the chat here. Okay, so another thing to note too is POTA is US only. WWFF is worldwide. So you may have folks in Australia activating parks in Australia through WWFF. They have their own iteration as well. So the website's in the chat too, so that you have that. And then of course, oops. There's N3FJP's website, so you can download those. But great questions. Awesome. There's the rules and FAQs for all of that, your downloads, awards and programs. Now let me just show you this because this is pretty cool. These are the certificates that you get when you what's the word I'm looking for? When you activate, you're there chasing. When you chase parks, when you work a park, when you work a certain number, you can earn these certificates here. And this is what they look like. But you can see, look at this. They're all over the world. Israel, Cyprus, Malaysia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Hunter. Yeah, Hunter, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay. And they're beautiful, and they all have their own site and iteration of WWFF, and it's usually the prefix. So 4XFF is Israel. They all have FF at the end. 5 Bravo FF is Cyprus. And so, like, your Azores call signs are always Charlie uniform call signs. Hence, guess what? They're CUFF for their WWFF grouping, subgrouping. And then, of course, there's your KFF, who the coordinator is for each of these countries and all of that information. But you can see this is worldwide. So hams around the world are very familiar with WWFF. They may not be as familiar with POTA. although I'm sure they're getting that way. But again, POTA is US primarily. Okay, cool. Questions? We good?
We're good.
All right. Anything else you ladies want to talk about?
Well, I found my number for my FJP.
Oh, cool. See? Awesome.
Yeah, it was right on the front page of my Snoopy log book.
Awesome.
And
Great.
the other one's in my archives, and so I'm all registered now. So he
Cool.
he just disregard my email.
All right. Cool.
I panicked.
All right. Anything else you ladies want to talk about? Any other questions? Are we good? We can hang out and chat, or you can go about your evening.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So you showed us how to put some contacts into the software. Let's say the contest is over now.
Okay.
You want
Now what do you do, right?
Yeah, now you need to submit.
Okay. So let me go back to this original.
Umbrella format.
This is the original one. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. Let me see if I can find it because I haven't done it this way. Da.
Maybe it's under file.
There's a way that you can actually, yes, you can do this to pull your Cabrillo, but N3FJP also has a way you can send it straight up through the site that's doing it. Give me a second to find that. Really? I know there's a place to do this. Well, maybe I'm just missing it. Because I thought there was a way you could upload it straight from this log and it would pull up the site to do it, but I can't seem to find it.
I wonder, would it come up after you generate your Cabrillo? Like, would another option open?
Oh, gotcha. All right, let's see what happens here. See, I don't usually do it that way, but yes.
I did.
Okay. You now submit them online. Click the green write dupe file, calculate band totals button to proceed. Cool. And then I can save this. I'll just save it right in here. It defaults to your call sign there. The file is written. Here's where it was written to. There's my dupe file. Here's my information here. I have 3 phone contacts on 20 meters. And then what you can do is click the link on the lower left. Wow, that is some tiny font. Wow, that is some tiny font. All right. I wouldn't have seen that link unless you said something in there. Okay. So then it walks you through and tells you how to do it. So you can then click here and it will pull up the log submittal page through ARRL and whatever your default browser is. And then you'll be able to plug everything in.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, and then you can just hit that bottom button and then you can fill this information in. You just manually do it here through them. That's pretty cool. Now other contests are a little bit different. You can still, yeah. All right. Let me see if it will let me do it. I'll see, I'm in a specific one, so let me do this. Here we go. Here's an international DX contest log. Let's see if that's. Okay, so other contests are a little different, and you do have to write a Cabrillo file. And here's what's nice about it. Let me just throw some context in here. Okay. So this is the international DX contest log. So when I go to write a Cabrillo for that, this form will actually pull up, and I can fill this out based on this particular contest expectations. So, so portable, one transmitter, low power is usually up to 100 watts. Did I use spotting networks? No. I'm just going to pick this here. Worked everybody on 20. I don't have an overlay. Some of this you don't need to fill in, but anyway, I'm going to write the summary file. Test here. It'll ask you, it wrote your Cabrillo log file, which you can attach and upload through the form usually, but there's also oftentimes a box where you can copy and paste the data. So it says, would you like to view it? I'm going to say yes. So here's the breakdown of everything that I filled in on that screen. I can copy it to the clipboard. And then when I go to the website to submit this log, there'll be a box where it says, oh, you can paste your Cabrillo file in there, and you can paste it into that open box. So let me, I'll just use this as an example here. Come on. So then let's say my form's here and I'm going to paste it. You can do Control V and it will paste your data here from your log into that box that's on the website. I'm just using Word as an example and I pasted it in there. Does that answer your question? Is that helpful? Cool.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So, so I've submitted my file. So now I want to import all these contacts into my regular, just my main log
Yep.
program.
Of course you do. Okay. So if you're using N3FJP or another logging program, hopefully you're using this one, and I'll show you the general log in a minute. You're going to export this as an ADIF file.
Right. Okay.
That's step one. You can leave this. This will just put this in the comment field on your general log, which is sometimes nice, especially if you're doing searches for what contacts you work during this specific contest. It's just a comment field, that's all, that will attach to these 3 contacts. I'm going to hit that, and it wrote this ADIF file or ADI file into this directory. I'm going to hit OK. I'm done with this log. Now, I'm going to go to my contact log now. This is my general log. And in this particular case, this happens to be the YL OpNet net log that I do every week.
Wow.
These are all net check-ins from, I think this goes back to 2018. So I'm going to go File. Now I'm going to import.
Okay.
And then I have to find my file where it stowed it away, which was under International DX. There's my test ADI file. I'm not actually going to pull them in because I don't want those contacts in here. But that's, you would hit, actually, I will go ahead and do it because I can turn around and delete them. Now you see these right up here. Now they're in my log. It picks up the next number sequentially and has your date and time and all that. Now, let's say that you have your contact log, you worked the contest, you made a few contacts, but you didn't import your contest contacts before you made new general contacts in your log, right? The dates and stuff will be out of order. You can renumber these and reload them and set them by date. And it will sort your log on date and renumber those for you so that things fall in where they should fall in based on the timeline, so to speak. So I'm just going to take these back out of here. This is the general log from N3FJP. And you'll notice it deleted them. So it asks you, do you want to, make sure we fix the numbers and make sure your QSO numbers match? So yes, it's fine. I'm going to say okay, and it will remove those three, and we're good to go.
Do you use LOTW?
Yes, I do.
So I assume that one of those settings was to upload to.
Yeah, that's actually under eLogs,
Okay.
LOTW. And this is where you can do that. You can pull your contacts down from LOTW, and you can upload your contacts from your log up to LOTW. And you don't have to do your entire log. Let's say, oh my gosh, this is computer slow. I just want to do these, right?
Right.
Then I can do that, and I can click upload LOTW, and I'll get that form again.
Okay.
And it will upload these.
So, and you don't have to do that intermediary step where you pull up some TQSL app and.
No,
Okay.
no. When you set this up, you put that information in, and it will hold that for you. And once it's kind of a one and done, once you get the link connected, it will work going forward on that computer.
Got it. Okay.
Now you change computers, you'll have to set up the connection again between the program and your LOTW account. But then once it's done, you're done on that computer.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you.
All right.
Can you do one more thing for me?
All right. Other resource information real quick here. N3FJP. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, my windows keep getting in the way. It's hard doing this on a laptop. Okay. I can't see everything. I need my multiple monitors. I'll get that set up. But if you're on n3fjp.com, there's a help menu on the far right-hand side. There's detailed help pages, frequently asked questions, installation tips. There's your LOTW help. There's your password help. And some visual assistance, email support groups. All of their help options are listed right there. So if you go to detailed help pages, okay, there's a link here for tutorials, installing, contest setup, tips and tricks, digital quick steps and password. And then there's your, it takes me to that, which we already had on the homepage. But even on this stuff too, you can watch these videos where he gives you a brief tutorial of each one. too. So like this is specific for amateur contact log or AC log. Here's the one specific for field day. Quick start is a quick start tutorial that will help you get going too. And look at that colored map. They worked a lot of sections. Look at that. So hopefully this was helpful, but you know, utilize these tools. They're very, very helpful.
Looks good. I appreciate the time you put into sharing this with us.
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's always nice to hang out with everyone and get to know y'all. And hopefully this was helpful. And you ladies will be set up and ready for field day. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to Scott if you have any questions or you really just get stuck. He is very quick to respond and very, very helpful. The most beautiful thing about his program is it's got the easiest to follow user interface. As you saw when we were going through the field day log, all you see is the specific exchange information. And then all you have for plugin boxes is just the information you need. So you don't have to panic and go, what's next? What am I supposed to say? What's the exchange? This has been a big help for me, especially getting started when I was getting started in contesting, is having a contest specific log that only has the information on it that I need for this contest. Made it so much easier to follow along. It helped me understand the rules. It helped me understand what they meant by exchange. Listening was always a big help. I would actually sit there and tune the radio and listen to an operator that had a pile up, and they would be super fast. Super fast. Alpha Charlie 4 Yankee Lima 1 Echo Alpha Zulu. They get their contact and they're moving on. There's no thanks, no 73. They're on to the next one because they're serious contesters. And the thing to keep in mind with that is don't take it personally. They're not ignoring you. They're not being rude to you. It's not like they don't want to chat with you. They're in a contest and they're serious about working as many as they can, as fast as they can. And any serious contester will tell you, you don't add in anything. It's literally just do the exchange, go to the next one, do the exchange, go to the next one. And for, you know, you'll still have your, what we call, what I like to call casual contesters, the ones that they'll chat with you. Oh yeah, I see you're in Arizona. How's the weather out there? It's been pretty hot. I mean, and you're like, this is a contest, you know? Shouldn't you be working? You run into all sorts of folks that play contests and they all play it differently. And it really doesn't matter as long as you're having fun and you're enjoying just participating and talking on the air and hanging out with folks. So you'll notice the difference. See, here's the field day log. Here's the general log. Oops, it went back to that. Hold on. There we go. There's a lot more fields in here. A lot more fields in here. And some of them you can set to auto. You can customize a lot of this. I'm not going to go into all that, but a lot of them will autofill for you. If you've worked that person before, you'll see all the iterations of Dawn. See how many times she's been on the net? Okay.
I think I've been there.
Say what now?
I think I was on it once.
Let's see. Let me, my computer seems to be somewhat bogged down. It's my work computer. I don't have mine set up here yet. And there you are.
Yep.
10/29/2020. You've been slacking, Ramona.
I know. Well, my problem is yours is so close to another net that we check into.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so this net is every Thursday, starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time year round. So even when the time changes, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It runs most of the time, 99% of the time, for an hour and a half. So 8 to 9:30. So if you are checking in on another net and you're done at 9, come on in at 9 o'clock. That's fine. A lot of people are later. Bharati in India, I mean, it's 6:30 in the morning her time. So she doesn't come in till 9 o'clock or 9:15 because it's 6 o'clock or 6:15 her time. And so coming in right at the start would be, that'd be great. But and then there's Jen, right? And then Jenny, poor Jenny, 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So, it's early, so she may not stay for the whole net. She might come in at 8 and fall asleep or disconnect.
I want to see how many times I was on the net.
Say what now?
I want to see how many times
Oh,
I was on the net.
Okay. All right, hold on.
Wow.
There you are, Dawn. Yeah, this log only goes back to January 18. I have the ones from previous years in another log file.
Wow.
So yeah, you've been on a few times.
Yeah.
Just a few. I think you've only missed a few, and the few you've missed have been like within the last few months. So
There's a sickness, so I haven't done family stuff, or I went out for ice cream, or
now listen, ice cream or the net? Come on, Dawn.
I was
You
with
get your ice
family.
cream before the net, and then you can sit there and eat it during the net. That's the sheesh.
Yeah, they're not even looking at her
I
eating it.
was out with family. Yeah, I was with my family that one Thursday.
Now listen, Melanie and I have run this net on our way to Hamcation. In the car, we pull off the side of the road in a McDonald's parking lot so we can run this net. So you can get on this net on your phone when you're out getting ice cream.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time there, Dawn.
I know. But last week I was sick as a dog.
Yeah.
My glucose, my sugar levels are through the roof. Just took it. It's
Yeah.
111. My highest was 190 something. My blood pressure's through the roof. I'm getting stomach aches and going through the changes, and it's just taking its toll on me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm so exhausted at night that I can't even function. I'm falling asleep on the couch or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got doctors helping you out with some of that, right? They working through some of that for you?
Yeah.
Good.
I've been busy with doctor's offices all week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just driving me nuts.
Yeah. Well, give them some time. They'll figure out something for you. It just, the human body's a fascinating thing, and all of us are different, and our chemical makeups are different. And so,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a while to work things out for you as an individual that doesn't work for somebody else. And that can be complicated. So unfortunately, sometimes it takes a little trial and error. So
Yeah. And then they gave me a sonogram, and they saw a spot there that they didn't see on a previous one. So now next week I have to go for a whole scan to see what's going on.
yeah.
And my stomach is swollen, and we don't know why.
Goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a mess this whole month.
Yeah. Well, I guess the best thing to do is get as much rest as you can and stay hydrated until they can work through some things. And
Yeah.
just don't put any unnecessary stress on yourself.
Oh, I know. I'm known to do that.
We all are. I think women are worse at that than other folks, but we tend to take on more, for sure. So, but keep us posted, okay? And
Yeah.
I like to catch up with you on the net, because that to me is kind of like, okay, she's doing good. When you're not on for a while, I start worrying. So
Okay. I'll let you know.
at least keep me posted so I know how you're doing, okay?
I will.
All right.
Look close.
Cool. All right. Well, I think everybody here's on the YLOpNet Facebook group.
I
So
am.
that's cool. And we'll be doing more of these. I'm going to try and get some of these will be educational. Some of these I'm going to try and get some YLs that have a nice long history with amateur radio, some that have done de-expeditions, some that have just been around a long time and have done a lot of projects and fun different amateur radio activities to tell us about their ham journey. And I think that will be a lot of fun too, to get to
That
know them better. So those are kind of some things I'm working on, getting together. But if you have topic ideas, please feel free to send me an email and let me know. Or if you want to do a presentation on something, let me know that too. You know, you never know. You might come up with something there, Lauren.
I might.
Yeah.
Look what I came up with.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
I built this.
Awesome.
Wow.
The fan runs, the lights run, the doorbell rings.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Dawn, you've been just really kicking it with all your snap projects, and I think that's great. Your snap kit projects. That's awesome.
That's as close as kept building up in it yet.
All right. Well, we ran way over, but I think we covered a lot of fun stuff. And I had a good time. I hope you ladies had a good time. And again, feel free to reach out to Scott if you have any questions on his program. He's usually very quick to respond to you, and he'll help you any way that he can. Super nice guy. And if you work on field day and you're using his log, it will pop up a thing that said, "Hey, you just worked Scott, N3FJP. He wrote this program."
I did that last year.
And by the way, you can set up pop-up alerts for other people too. So as you know, sometimes when you're working a lot of people, you're just plugging call signs in and you're like, "Hey, wait, I know that person."
I did that just working people one weekend. Turned out
Right.
another net controller that we talk to all the time.
Right. I'll be tuning around the band, and I hear this person, and I'm trying to work them during a contest, and all of a sudden I'll hear WA4YL, and I'm going, and they'll come back to Dawn, and I'm like, "I've been trying for 15 minutes," and Dawn will just throw her call out once and get right. I'm like, oh. All right. Well, it's been a blast. I hope to see you ladies tomorrow night on Echo Link, 8 o'clock anytime between 8 and 9:30. And again, if you have topic ideas for Zoom or you want to do a presentation, just send me an email, ac4yl@arrl.net. And love to get your suggestions, or if you know a YL that has a good, rich ham radio history that you think would be fun to share something on the Zoom or on the net. It doesn't have to be a Zoom. The Zoom's nice because you get a visual. And I thought if I can get some YLs that have done de-expeditions, they might have some fun pictures and things that would be fun to see. So, but thanks everybody. Thanks for joining, and this has been fun.
Yeah. Nice meeting everybody.
Yeah, you
Nice
too.
meeting you.
All right. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you.
33, y'all.
33.
See you later.
33.
Bye.
Good night.
Night. Night. Oh, and I want to thank you, Catherine, for showing me the unregistered thing, because I realized with my new computer I was unregistered. So thank you for helping me out with that tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, anytime you change a computer, it will do that. You'll have to plug your password back in.
Okay. Did it?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'll take care.
Good night.
Good night.
You
I
have a
think
good
Jenny went
night.
to sleep.
33, everyone.
Say what, Ramona?
I think Jenny went to sleep on us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It happens. We love her to death. She shows up, bless her heart.
I hope she gets some rest.
Good night, Jenny.
Good night, Jenny.
Good night, Jenny.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.